up, yo? It is Anytime Story Time, back at it again with another banger of a video. And here we got her E right here, because of course everyone knows that E is the best. Right, you are, E?
Sideways.
And now, today we are going to be doing the one, the only, drum roll please, Shadow Jumper! My favorite of all time books. We are on chapter 3, and last time Jack has just met Beth, the mysterious girl with a past no one has known yet and will never figure out until the middle of the book. Sorry for spoilers. Anyways, let's get on with it. Chapter 3. Am I joking? No, I am not. Okay. Chapter 3. If you have this book at home, why don't you go grab it so we can read together? It's page 12. Let's get on with it. Chapter 3. As usual, nosy Miss Roberts popped her head around her door as he put his key in the lock. She had an uncanny knack of hearing him coming. How did she do that when she was supposed to be as deaf as a lump of wood? Everything all right? She cackled, displaying a set of stumpy grinning teeth. Fine, thank you, Miss Roberts, he shouted, making sure he kept his distance from her smelly mouth. I'm going to eat something. Sore feet? She glanced down at her pink, fluffy slippers. Yes, they're a little painful. Not sore feet, shouted Jack. Something to eat. Oh, right. She looked confused for a second. But I've had my supper already. Well, perhaps I could do with some crackers and cheese. Night-night. She shuffled backwards and disappeared into her flat. Jack sighed and opened his door. Mom? Silence. He'd forgotten she'd still be at work. He heated up a huge pan full of baked beans, toasted 2 slices of bread, and wolfed them down, standing by the sink. Sauce dribbled down his chin and plopped into the washing-up bowl. Jack could almost hear Mum tutting with annoyance as he stood there, but at least it saved on the washing-up. You know what, I also have to wash my dishes too. And so far, everything is good. No beans have dribbled into the washing-up pan. And you don't want to see me when beans drip into the washing-up pan. He glanced at the clock. Past 10 already. There was no point waiting up for Mum. She could be ages. He showered to wash the grease off his skin and hair and collapsed on the bed. His body was weary, but his mind restless. His stuffy bedroom didn't help. He tossed back his duvet, knelt on the bed, and yanked up the blind. Then he opened the window as far as it would go. He flopped into his back and watched the strange elongated shadows created by light from the street dancing on his ceiling. He must have dozed off, because he came to a while later with the sound of Mum clattering about in the kitchen, which was next to his room. He slipped out of bed. She was sitting at the table with a cup of tea. No joke, that's literally how the page ends. See, right? Wrong one. Somewhere. Like, right there. It's a little weird. Fancy one? She gestured at the kettle. A wispy plume of steam still hovered in the air above it. He shook his head and sank into the chair opposite. What's the matter with your hand? He gulped and wiped it under the kitchen table. If she realized the skin was getting worse, she'd ban him from going outside altogether. I scratched myself. It's nothing. He glanced at her face, wondering if she'd quiz him about it. Dark circles surrounded each eye. They'd been there since she and Dad split up 4 months ago. There's Unterspeg in the bathroom cabinet. She heaved herself up, rinsed her mug under the tap, and placed it on the draining board, pushing a floppy strand of brown hair from her brow as she did so. Dad hasn't called then? He said, crushing his sore hand between his knees to stop the unbearable itch. Been there, had that? Sorry, love, no. Typical, he grunted. Mum shot him a disapproving look, but she didn't disagree. Instead, she mumbled something that sounded like, too busy thinking about himself. Then in a louder voice, she said, Your dad finds it easy to forget what really matters, but it's not been that long since we heard from him. Jack thought 3 weeks was plenty and long enough. His birthday. That's when Dad sent the email. And no present, no card, no phone call, nothing. Mum said he didn't like mobile phones, and that's why he hadn't rung. That seemed like such a feeble excuse. Hadn't he heard of a phone box? And where was he? He hadn't visited for months. Mum smoothed down the stray strand of hair that threatened to fall in front of her eyes again. I got to. Hey, yo! Where did I go? Oh, there he is. Things are tricky at the moment for him, but I'm sure once he's found a permanent job, and is settled in one place, he'll get in touch. Why did you chuck him out then if it's so tough for him? Jack ground the heel of each hand into his tired eyes. We've been through this before, Jack. It was a joint decision for him to leave. I couldn't take... Jack jerked his head up as Mum's words tailed off. What? She rubbed her brow. It's too late for this conversation now. If it'll make you feel better, I'll make a few phone calls and see if I can find anything else out, okay? But right now you need to go to bed. She ushered him from the room, but he knew he wouldn't be able to sleep, so he sneaked back into the hall. And crouching down, pressed his ear to the sitting room door, listening as she made call after call. At last, with the muscles in his legs screaming to be released, Jack could take it no longer. He tiptoed back to bed, a blanket of misery surrounding him. What a waste of time. Nobody had a clue where Dad was, and if Mom couldn't find him, what would happen to his skin? He flopped back onto the pillow and shut his eyes, trying to block the surge of hopelessness that washed over him. Chapter 4. The next evening, Jack was back on the roofs. The sun, already low, peeped between the chimney stacks. The violent orange sky bled into the darkening clouds, creating a cluster of purple bruises. Long shadows surrounded Jack as he hopped into a ledge and surveyed the collection of rooftops. He'd been waiting all day for this moment, and he planned to savor every precious minute of it. Exactly 10 seconds later, he spotted something out of the corner of his eye, or rather someone, a huddled figure wearing black. Beth was sitting with her back to one of the tallest chimneys, her rucksack by her side. Seeing her made his nerves jingle. Was she stalking him? Then he noticed her head was buried in her arms, and her shoulders were juddering up and down. Jack hesitated. He needed someone else's problems like a hole in the head, but he couldn't very well leave her there looking so upset. He slowly made his way towards the hunched shape. He put out a hand and touched her lightly on the shoulder. She practically jumped out of her skin. "Why did you sneak up on me?" she squawked, rubbing her eyes frantically. The smudged black and white makeup tinged her face a ghoulish gray. "Sorry," he said. "Are you okay? Do I look okay?" He shrugged and started to turn away. If she was going to be like that, he really couldn't be bothered with her. He had better things to do with his time, like shadow jumping. And that's where we're going to stop today, in the middle-ish of page 18. So what do you think? I think that Jack's dad was really unreasonable to leave the family. Even if the mom did decide to leave him, she should have just been really resilient and stayed true to what he did when he married his wife. Because of course, divorcing is very, very much a sin, along with every other thing that has to do with marriage that can be a sin. Because of course, if dad is still Jack's dad, and mom is still Jack's mom, then those two should be together, because there's no reason why those two should divorce unless one of them is dead. And I am not being harsh. This is exactly how life is supposed to work. If you don't really agree with me, then go ahead, dislike this video. I really don't care, because as long as I still have my little story timers, then we're all right. And anyone who subscribes to my channel can still dislike the video. Well, this seems to be the end. Tune in next time for more awesome adventures with Anytime Storytime and her curiously short pal, E. Goodbye, guys. Oh, sorry, buddy. Peace.